The story took place in a small village in Kim Dong Town, Phuongkhao District, Haiduong Province, in 2009. At that time, it was in the middle of summer. There was a very large forest to the north of our village, which had become our playground after every school hour. One day, after dinner, my close friend Tu Quan and I ran to the northern part of the forest. Let me show you that I can catch more than you at that time. We often come here every evening to play a game that only happens in the summer. You think you can beat me with those tiny eyes? Just wait and see. This is about to become one of the happiest memories of our youth. The game we are talking about is catching cicadas. This is a game specifically for rural children. Its scientific name is cicada, while its larva is called cicada nymph. Every summer evening, cicada nymphs typically emerge from the ground and cling to the nearest tree, waiting to transform into flying cicadas. We can catch them at this time. It's said they're quite nutritious. It's not just about the food. We also feel joyful when we go looking for them. Back then, I used to catch cicadas with my friend in our group, and we never got tired of this game. Those simple memories adorned my childhood with laughter. Of course, as rural kids, we also witnessed some strange occurrences. I remember that day when my friend and I were searching for cicadas on the tree trunks. It was around 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and it was quite dark already. Suddenly, I heard the strange sound of an animal up in the tree. At first, I thought it might be a bat or a wildcat. There was a man about 40 years old up on the tree. Normally, encountering a man wouldn't be so frightening, but a large man sitting on a tree in such a posture and growling is very strange. Moreover, he looked very unusual, with scratches all over his body, many wounds still bleeding, and his eyes had no pupils but emitted a faint blue light. I was terrified by this bizarre man, my legs trembling. So, I called my friend back. When my friend arrived, the man approached us. It felt like he could jump down at any moment. When my friend looked up, he saw the man too. We were both 10 years old at the time and both terrified. We had never seen anything like it. When the man saw I had my friend with me, he suddenly changed direction. He seemed like he wanted to jump down right in front of us, which frightened us even more. But instead of jumping down, he leaped to another nearby tree. After that, he jumped to several other trees. Moving so swiftly like that was definitely not something a normal person could do. At that moment, we regained our senses, and then we screamed and ran out of the forest. We looked back to see if the man was chasing us. Before leaving the forest, we met 2 people in the clearing. We told them about the strange man. They believed us and followed us into the forest. Since the forest wasn't too large, we quickly found the man. He was lying on a branch of a large tree. His body had more wounds than before, and he was covered in scratches and blood. When he saw someone approaching, he started screaming like a monster. They recognized the man as someone from our village. We also knew him, but at first, we didn't recognize him because of the wounds on his face. He spotted us and attempted to flee by jumping through other trees. We were afraid he might be in danger, so we chased after him. When he reached a large tree, he realized the other trees were too far to jump to, so he kept climbing back and forth on that tree. He bared his teeth and continuously growled at us. I can't remember how scared I was, but then he leaned to one side and fell from the tree. His sudden fall terrified us, and he remained unconscious. Although the tree wasn't too high, he could have been seriously injured. The adults reacted quicker than us and weren't as frightened. They immediately ran to help him. They laid him on the ground, but he remained unconscious. We came closer and saw him covered in countless wounds, severely injured. Despite everything, he eventually returned to normal. The adults decided to take him back to his house first. Luckily, it wasn't too far away. I heard the next part of the story from the villagers. They said that the day after he returned home, he woke up, but he was still covered in wounds and needed a long rest before he could get out of bed. As for why he became like that, his wife said that when he worked in the south, he learned from the locals how to eat cat meat. The night before the incident, he caught a wild cat somewhere, killed it, and made a stew. His family dared not eat it, but he finished it all. After hearing what the adults recounted, I remembered that on that night, he looked just like a big cat. It was a frightening incident from my childhood, and I still shudder every time I remember those eyes emitting a faint green